Welcome to Intermediate Level English Language Arts.
Hi, and welcome to English Language Arts. Our topic for today would be using adjectives in making comparisons. Right? Let's go to the objectives first, shall we? There are three objectives. Number one, to know how to use adjectives in making comparisons. Number two, to know how to distinguish comparative and superlative adjectives. And number three, to know when to use comparative and superlative forms of adjectives. So basically, class, when you're using adjectives in making comparison, to be able to compare how similar two things are, you use the phrase as and then the adjective and then as, or the word like. Take, for example, look at this one. That building is as tall as the tallest tree. Ed has as much food as Fred. The fog is like silent feathers flying through space. So these are different examples of comparing two things that are similar. But what about if you'd like to compare two things that are different, right? Or three things that are different. When you would like to do that, you have to first understand that adjectives have three forms. Basically, you have the positive, the comparative, and the superlative form. The positive form is the base form of the adjective. These are adjectives in its simplest form, in its base form. You're not doing anything with them. Comparative, usually you add er to the adjective to make it comparable or to use it to compare two things. Or you could add the word more before the word or less before the word. Or in some cases, you change the spelling. Superlative, on the other hand, you add the word the letters e, s, and t. The est at the end of the adjective makes it superlative. Now, for superlative adjectives, you could also have the words most or least before the adjective, right? Or in some cases, you change the spelling. This is a graph, a chart, my bad. A chart of the different forms of adjectives in the positive, comparative, and superlative form. Common adjectives such as, for example, high, when you make it comparative, higher, and when you make it superlative, highest. But certain adjectives, such as, for example, intelligent, you don't say intelligenter or intelligentest. You say more intelligent or less intelligent for comparative, and then most intelligent and least intelligent for superlative. And in some cases, such as, for example, the word good, you don't say gooder or goodest, or more good or most good. No. You change the spelling, you change the word. Good in positive, in comparative it becomes better, and then in superlative it becomes best. How do you use them in sentences? Take note of how they are used. When you're using a comparative, like the example over here, right? When you're using comparative, that tree is higher than the other. Don't forget the word than after the adjective in comparative form, right? Or for example, he is more intelligent than she. Okay, that's how it works. But what about a superlative? Superlative, don't forget the word the, and you would compare it to everything else. So for example, you could see in my second example, Katrina is the shortest in the class. And that's how you use comparative and superlative forms in sentences. Now, there are a few things you have to take note of, or a few rules that you have to make sure that you follow. The first one over here, right? This is already mentioned just a while ago. The using of the word that the for superlative, and than in number two after the word comparative, right? There are words such as, for example, few, fewer, and fewest. These are used for count nouns, nouns that can be counted. And you have the word, what do you call this? Well. The word well can be used. This adjective well is used when you are referring to something that is not sick. The opposite of sick, well. Right? And then number six, when you say farther, farthest, this is distance. Further and furthest, this refers to time, degree, or even quantity. Okay? So basically, the rule of thumb is when you say farther, far, from that word far, You're talking about distance. Further refers to everything else. When you'd like to add, you'd like to explain further. See what I did there? Okay. And basically, right, that pretty much ends our lesson for this topic, using adjectives to make comparisons. So again, just a quick recap. There are three forms. You have the positive, that's the base form. Comparative, that's when you add er or the word more or less. And then superlative, that's when you add est or you add the words most or least. And basically, you use them differently. When you say comparative, use comparative adjectives to compare two things and only two things. Cannot be more than two. If it's more than two, that is already superlative. When you're comparing two things, don't forget to use the word than after the adjective. And if you're using superlative, don't forget to put the word the before the adjective. Okay? That pretty much ends this lesson on using adjectives in making comparisons. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!